For the authors of Project 2025, the core issue with government regulation is that it's been exploited by, quote, radical leftists, end quote, to advance what they deride as, quote, the great wokedom, end quote, a term used to smear diversity and inclusion programs as well as climate mitigation efforts. When they talk about dismantling the administrative state, what they actually mean is eliminating progressive policies. Their claim of advocating for smaller government is deceptive. Today's GOP is entirely okay with an expansive government as long as it serves their extremist agenda. Nowhere is this more evident than in Project 2025's final chapter, Chapter 30, handling the Federal Trade Commission. The Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, is the agency responsible for overseeing consumer rights.
Just think of a country that is playing with uncertain rules of the game and where every day there is a new episode in an interesting novel. That is when America will be a different country altogether by the time we are undertaking the 2028 election. From progress in world technological growth to significant changes in perception between people and the world at large, things are about to change big time. Urban future. What will our cities be like? In what manner will our work and business as usual look like? In this video, we will unwrap the 10 things most likely to alter America before the next election. Fasten your seatbelts, gentle person, because here comes the future at speed, and it's going to be quite a bumpy ride. 1. Increased political polarization. It was predicted that the level of political polarization in the US is set to rise even higher. This raises visibility that the schism between the two dominant political parties will expand, as is evident in the current toxicity in Washington and other state governments. And as both of these parties get more extremist, the chances of coming to an agreement will get even slimmer. This increasing polarization is likely to mean even more paralysis at the national level and makes it even more difficult to deal with problems. It has to be mentioned that a third player may appear on the political scene depending on the future evolution of the situation, for example, due to the split of one of the large parties against the backdrop of the representatives of extremists. 2. Revival of domestic manufacturing. Production industry in the US is back again to the global platform. Several factors are making firms move their supply chains out of China. These include, but are not limited to, issues to do with IP rights and geopolitical risks. The shock of the pandemic exposed some of the risks of having most production done in other countries, where key products, such as essentials like the medical equipment, were sourced. Consequently, there's the creation of more manufacturing jobs in the United States, though the employment opportunities, which are creating, are becoming mechanized, thus causing the manufacturing sector to have slow job creation. 3. Growing diversity. Demographic diversification in the US is evident, and it may be in the process of intensifying. More immigration will add to the ethnic and racial stock of people in the country, and this is likely to be both a boon and bane. Thus, despite language differences and conflicts of cultures, people's variety contributes to the development of a much richer and more interesting society. 4. Environmental degradation. Global changes are expected to further affect climate in a negative manner. By and large, there is a certain level of skepticism, but the data supporting climate change is robust, and the impacts are emerging more evidently. These are the future challenges that will prevail in connection with the increase in sea levels, and the most significant consequences are expected in coastal cities in several years, or even a few decades. The discussion of whether or not climate change is an urgent issue will be questionable, but the data on the change trends will remain uncontestable. 5. Rapid technological advancements. We are moving to the age of advanced technological change that is defining our world at a higher speed than ever before. Technologies in artificial intelligence, robots, and gene editing have been seen to be disruptive in nature since they are altering industries and people's lives. Thus, transition to these technologies results in numerous advantages, but at the same time, it is important to bear some risks resulting from such developments in mind. For instance, the advances in technologies such as artificial intelligence and automation might present unprecedented difficulties to conventional employment landscapes, thereby increasing the rates of displacement. Thus, it is important to assess the overall net effect of such technologies to offset the high positives of such technologies against the negatives and ethical issues they bring along. It requires policymakers as well as stakeholders to have very meaningful conversations to make technology essentially positive to any society. 6. Evolving job market. I have mentioned earlier that the very nature of work is now in the middle of a qualitatively new type of a transformation which requires our focus. The higher rates of multiple sectors are being automated, which in turn is throwing out people from their jobs while generating new job opportunities in technical and technical supporting sectors. This major change can worsen social injustice. Those who will possess skills needed to work under the new economy are likely to reap big benefits of this new dispensation, while those who will not have those skills are likely to lag behind. Also, some categories are believed to continue being resistant and offer constant employment. For example, plumbing, electrical work, healthcare services, etc. Besides the fact that they cannot be automated or mechanized, all these fields need human skill and have steady demand for human capital, hence are vital to the economy. 7. Shifts in global affairs, the position of the USA. The further development of international relations is to change. Although the country will persist in its status of a grade A player on the international stage, it will do so in different ways concerning the management of conflicts. The dynamics of international relations will also be changed. Instead of direct military invasions for the control of resources, there will be cooperation with other countries for shared solutions to the global problems, droughts, food shortages, infrastructure needs. In the same way, it may be also pointed out that with the enhancement of energy independence, the role of the US in the Middle East may be diminished. 8. Consumer culture. Expansion. The US will go more and more the way of a consumer-oriented society, which can be largely attributed to the convenience of shopping on the internet. This is expected to enhance consumerism, as many people have weaknesses that give in to buying tendencies, most especially on the lure of impulse buying. The movement to e-commerce will remain one of the main drivers of consumption, and for this, it will be even more global and often pathological. 9. Shift towards service economy. The structure of the economy of the United States will shift more to the type of service industries. Some manufacturing will return, though not at the level of the mid-20th century. Many jobs will therefore be done by machines. It follows that employment opportunities in following service domains, healthcare, trades, and maintenance of automatic machinery will rise. 10. Emphasis on trade schools over traditional college. Trade schools will be more popular as opposed to traditional colleges. Expensive college education and escalating worth of vocational education will push people towards trade careers. Carpentry, electrical, and plumbing are vocationally secure, well-paid contracting trades, which should not be dismissed as a career option to a 4-year college degree program. These predictions are referring to current trends and possible future evolutions in the U.S. given the 2028 election. They are grounded on present findings and knowledge, but they can be easily adjusted as new state variables are introduced. As usual, your thoughts, opinions, and predictions are welcomed in the comments section below.